share the music. Be in God's house tonight.
Amen.
People don't understand the great privileges in this country that we have. The right to worship a loving God, and not be bounded by religion, but be able to worship a God that cares for His children and His creation.
Amen.
And that it will fill us and guide us if we just allow Him. Where we say that it's a country based on God, but God's slipping away from the country. It's not that God's slipping; it's the country slipping from God. We get ready to go into this here election time. It's only weeks now. It was months. Now it's weeks.
2 weeks.
And now it's a war of words and of honor. Who's the most dishonest, or who lacks the honor? That's what it's all about. And stuff. But we have to trust God and keep praying till it's over. And God is going to take care of us. He's the government. He's over His children, and that's what we. I've relayed that message here before, but I think it was Thursday. Was it Thursday or Friday last week? You called me. I got a key in the door, and it's like 7:45 or something. I got a key in the door, and the phone goes. I'm like, whoa! Normally, he called me like in the middle of the day or something.
Monday morning.
Yeah, was it Monday morning? Like in the middle of the day, he usually calls me. But it was like, I had the key in the door, and all of a sudden the phone goes off. I'm like, whoa. He said, you ain't forgot, have you? I said, no, I haven't forgot. And stuff like that. We didn't get to be here for Pastor Appreciation, but we do appreciate Pastor John.
Oh, yes.
He's been a great inspiration for me and for us over the years, and we really appreciate the church and y'all allowing us to come do this here. Because there's a lot of people just won't give you an opportunity. They don't care. They don't want the word. I study and I try to show myself approved, like the Bible says. So but that's here or there. But anyway, I started putting something together today. Because God wants us to have fresh bread.
Amen.
It's nothing like fresh bread. Like I said, you put that. If you make your own bread, the ladies make the cornbreads and stuff like that. They just drive you nuts in the house when you start smelling cornbread about ready to come out of the oven, or those morning biscuits and but they start coming out of that oven like, whoa, you ready?
Homemade yeast rolls.
Homemade yeast rolls. So that's why I hate they got rid of the Quincy's, because man, I eat just a plate of just yeast rolls and stuff. It was always good, and stuff. And that's how God's word is. It's always good.
Amen.
And it's always fresh.
Amen.
It don't matter how many times you read it. You can, even John 3:16, if you read it enough, it'll just be fresher and fresher and fresher to the word and stuff. But today I started putting this together. For the title would be "A Sign of Warning Will Keep You Off the Road of Bumps and Snares." Because I carried my son to school. I went down to this waste station to get rid of my trash and stuff, but I was coming out, and what brought this message is the road's blocked off where there's a little cut-through road for Hutto and number 6, and there's a big old sign there that says road closed. Big old sign, about as long as from here to there. And then there's 2 big old dirt piles. And sure enough, here comes this lady. She pulls on there real fast, and she sees, and she's just ignoring the sign. And then she's going to try to go around it, but here she couldn't get around them 2 dirt piles. But she was persistent on trying to go. She was wanting to go down that road. There ain't nothing on the road. It's just a little cut-through road. But one big old house on the other end. I don't ever see nothing moving up in there. I don't know if people live in there or not. And the same way the other end was blocked off too, and stuff. But it's just that the way people would just the warning signs are there, but they just will not listen to it. You know, it's the same with the way the world is going with politics, as well as the normal things that's going on in the world. You know, foreign affairs and all these different things in these countries, these wars and stuff. But people are not listening to the warning signs that God's put there for us to draw men to Him and pierce their hearts and allow them to fear Him and come and draw to Him and stuff. But they ignore these warning signs. But they rather go down these roads where all these bumps and these snares and where they're going to be entrapped in what the devil is trying to pull them into. And in the same way with religions. Religions are just trying to pull people out of the church, real church, the church that should be the church of Christ that's in your heart.
Amen.
It's not, he said, he wasn't building buildings. It ain't about buildings. You know, that's where we gather together to be with each other, to lift each other up, to edify each other. That's what the buildings are.
Amen.
It's built on brick and mortar. It was built on the Spirit of God.
Amen.
And stuff. And start out with looking in the book of Isaiah tonight. The book of Isaiah, the 36th chapter. I'm going to start at the 13th verse. And it's about Hezekiah. And I want to briefly, if someone doesn't know about Hezekiah.
Which chapter?
It was 36, chapter 36 of Isaiah. You must have been asleep when I went over that part. And stuff, but 462. That's what I'm looking at. 32 to 62. And it says, the righteous king, he reigned, his reign was described in 2 Kings 18 and 20. He worshiped God alone and did his best to prohibit idols worship. He also rebelled against Assyria. This the whole chapter is on how Assyria was coming against the Israelites to put them in bondage. And he says, which led to Jerusalem being threatened by the mighty king Sennacherib. The prophet Isaiah told Hezekiah that God would deliver them from the brutal Assyrians. And the angel of the Lord struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers, and Sennacherib returned home to be murdered by his own sons and stuff. Because people that come, like I say, these kings that came against the children of God at that time, that they didn't realize how big God is. They thought their king was big, and his kingdom ruled. But God is always ruling, and He's always there and stuff. And like I said, starting at the 13th verse of chapter 36 of Isaiah, it says then, anyway, the guy, he stood, this was the king, he stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jewish language so they would understand, because you want to make sure they understood, because he'd said this before in his Arabic language, and they just looked at him, and he's like, and so he said it where there'd be understanding, and they would know. And he said, hear ye the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus saith the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you. See, neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, the Lord will surely deliver us. This city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me by a presence and come to me. See, he wanted them to come to him and give him the honor and bring glory to him. You know, he's wanting them to not trust in God, pulling them away from God. Because see, at the same time, Hezekiah had went in and tried to bust up all the idols that was in the temples and stuff at that time. And so that, you know, they was against Hezekiah, and because Hezekiah had a heart for God. Hezekiah he started out as a good king, but you know, his demise was at the end. It wasn't too good, you know. And plus, you know, he found favor at one time with God, where God actually stopped time for him. He was dying of an illness, and God stopped time and pulled back the years. You read on in Kings about his life and stuff. You know, and that's how the blessings and the favor was on him, as all these kings, when they would follow after God and not after idols and after other false gods and false kings and stuff, and the rules that they had and stuff. And it says, verse 17 says, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, and a land of corn and wine. See, he's offering them all these things, just like, you know, they did. God offers you a land of milk and honey. You know, that was the promise when they went into the promised land and stuff, that there would be a land that would be theirs, and they wouldn't have to do nothing there. It was almost like a heavenly place to go. And it said, 18, beware lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. Have any of the gods of the nations delivered us his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Talking about how big this king is. You know, this king of Assyria, how big he is. He's not really that big, because we serve a king, and the King of Kings and the Lord of all lords. And it says, verse 19, where are the gods of Hamath and Aphad? Where are the gods of Zeram? And have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? He's bragging. He's got that pride. These kings had such pride, and that's what was their demise and their fall, was when they get their pride would rise up in them, and they would go and strike out on those that are righteous and those that were trying to do the will of God. And that's happening in the world today. You know, people are trying to suppress our religious rights and stuff. It's still out. It's out there. You know, somebody was saying where somebody over there in one of those countries, I think it was in down there over there in Africa or something, where they took the little kids and chopped their heads off or something. Yeah, it was 20-something kids, something.
21.
Chopped their heads off. First, they did something to them. They said something.
See, they had kidnapped most of those people.
And then one of them, somebody was saying they chopped them up, and then they tried to feed them back to the people.
That's true. That other cards do.
There's some stuff going on out there that you just don't hear a lot of, because all this here political stuff is going on. They're hiding all this other stuff that's happening out there in the world, you know, and stuff. But verse 20 says, who are they among all the gods of these lands, that they have delivered their land out of my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? He's really bad now. He can go against God, and you know, he's picking at God now. You know, but they held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, answer him not, because they let God be the one that come at their defense, and that's what we have to do. God is the one that at our defense. It says we'll be facing many persecutions in this world. Yeah. You know, and he said he was highly persecuted. Christ was before he was crucified, and so we will face persecution. Right. But God is the one that will defend us. Amen. And stuff. And if we allow him, when we strike out and try to, then the outcome is not going to be what we expected. But when we allow him to fight that battle, where he said the battle is his, not ours. I finish up here. It says, but they held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, answer him not. and verse 22 that says, then came Elikam and the son of Elikiah that was over the household, and Shebaniah the scribe, and Jonah, and the sons of Asaph the recorder to Hezekiah, with their clothes rented, and told him the words of Reshekah, because that's what they recorded, but it was also about them tearing and off their clothes and stuff and rolling it. It was about humility, being humble and stuff. And start off with some points there. Also, it says, let our ears be tuned to the voice of the Spirit of one true God, and that's our God, our Father in heaven. And two would be false gods and kings cannot deliver on promises of provision, because God is the only one that brings out our provision. He meets all our needs. By Philippians, it says, according to his riches and glory, and he's got all the riches and glory, and stuff. And he says, lay up your treasures not here on this earth, but up in heaven, and stuff. And so we go on point 3 on the highway of holiness. There are no detours. It is straight all the way to the pearly gates. It's a straight. He says that's why he says straight is the way, and narrow path. When you get on the broad path, is when we, like I say, you get on the snares and them bumps, and your life starts going all kinds of different ways, and you wonder why everything's falling apart around you and stuff. And when you get a poor prayer life or a poor family life where you putting yourself above everything. Like these kings and stuff, they put themselves above everything. They exalted themselves. We can't exalt ourselves. God is the one that He'll bring you things you need, or bring you to that next level that you need to be spiritually. It's about spiritual. It's not this flesh. This flesh and blood is going to be out in the cemetery one day. And that's how we have to look at it. It's about what we can do by bringing others to the light of Christ. Amen. And the hope that it's in Him, and the promise that He will deliver to us. He's the only King that will deliver the true eternal promise that is salvation, and that plan and desire that the Father had from even before all this was anything, before the foundation of the world. It was His plan that He had for us to be in a relationship with Him.
Amen.
And stuff, and because that's like I say, if you flip over, if you can, that's okay. But I'm gonna flip over to 2 Chronicles 7:14, and it's funny how this is quoted a lot. But this week I heard maybe the future vice president quote this scripture as well. He was doing a speech at Liberty University and stuff, and he said, "For if my people, which are called by my name, not by king of whoever, but or prince whoever, or president of whoever, but if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land."
Amen.
And you can hear a pin drop in that room when he said that, and stuff. But this Pierce, I think his name's Pierce, Trump's running mate. Prince. Pence. It's London. It's Pence. It was like a penny or something. a little more than a penny. so that he got it. Trump's got him a penny's worth. Just have a little humor there. And point 4 says to the word says the word of God can flag our steps if we allow our hearts and minds to stay steadfast on His purpose and will for our lives and His plan. It says point 5, humility cannot be replaced with unbelief and pride.
Amen.
Because that's what he was trying to do. This king was trying to do is put unbelief in them. He didn't want them to believe that God could do anything for them. He wanted to put God back in a box, or put God down here. and
Come on.
exalt himself. And you
Right.
know, and there's a lot of denominations, religions that's doing the same thing. They're just elevating themselves above God.
That's right.
Amen.
They're
Come
trying
on,
to do
brother.
away with God. And same
Amen.
way, it says, in God we trust, you know, not in the government. And stuff. And I like to flip to 1 Peter. 1 Peter 5, real quick. Just a couple, just ask a set of scriptures here. 1 Peter 5, 1 through 8 says, and the elders which were among you I exalt, who I am also an elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. In other words, you know, people harm in the church about, you know, if you don't pay your tithes, you're going to hell. And that's just not right. It's not what it says. You know,
Right, come on.
and they browbeat the church to death about that. You know, and if you're not paying your tithes, they'll excommunicate you, take you away from the church. They'll run you off from the church. You know, but it says doing it willingly, not with constraint. And it says, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. This is talking to the leadership of the church. Being examples to the flock. That's why this church should be full. All the deacons should be here. All the leaders should be here. If there's new leaders or promising leaders, they should be here. Anyway, either as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock, verse 3. And verse 4, and when the chief shepherd shall appear, you shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elders. Ye all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. That's what it's getting around here to the point about being humble. For God resisteth the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. Amen. Cast all your cares upon him, for he careth for you. Be sober. Never hit a hard note with the church. You know, a lot of the church people, I hear Christians all the time telling me how much it's okay to drink. Be sober. You can't be sober if you drink it too. The two don't matter. It ain't got a misnomer of how you twisting words. You can drink, but you can't drink and not be and still be sober. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Because then you open him up to be able to do those things when you give him those opportunities where you say, well, if you just do a little bit, it's okay. If you participate, okay, one little pumpkin ain't gonna send me to hell. You know, a little witch on my door, that's okay. It's for the kids. Okay, it's for the kids. You know, Santa Claus is for the kids. When Saint Nicholas was a tyrant, and the original Santa Claus was a tyrant, and that's why he brought a bag of switches for the bad ones. I don't know where I'm getting with this, but I'm going to get off of that. But anyway, it says the way of holiness, we find friendship, relationship, and an abundance of grace. Amen. And it says the King of Glory will not forsake those with a heart and a mind stayed on his kingdom to come and his will to be done in the earth, for he is coming back and soon. You know, I just finish out with that there and stuff, and I've seen a couple of jokes, but a lot of them I've used over here. There's not very many, but there's one where it's these couple good old boys, they're building that, you know, they're contractor and stuff. They're building a house, and the one guy's up on the roof, and he's hammering nails. He hammered one, and then he threw another off the roof. And he kept doing that, and so the foreman on the ground, he come up the ladder, and he says, "Hey man, what you doing? You throwing all the nails down here like that?" He said, Well, when I pull one out of my pouch, if it's facing me, I hammer it. If it's facing the roof, I throw it off the roof. He said, "Well, you dummy, that the ones you throwing off the roof, that's for the other side of the house." That's kind of redneck.
Crazy.
And it was
That was a foreman?
Blind leading the blind.
the blind. Yeah, but that's what it is. That's what the whole message. People, the ones who are we following?
Come
What
on.
are we
That's
following?
right.
Who are we following? That's what the message in that would be. There's was it? Should have wrote it down. But anyway, there's I'm gonna close out with that since it's already past time and stuff. But Shannon, would you like to close us out?
I guess.
Go
You
ahead,
want me
close
to.
us out.
Lord, we thank you for this evening, Lord God. We ask that you go with us to our home places, Lord God. Be with us and protect us, Lord God, and keep each person and their family safe, Lord. We thank you for the message that was brought tonight, Lord God. We ask you bless the pastor in this church, Lord God, in a mighty way. And we bless your name, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Praise the Lord.